So 2K have given us our first look at universe modes and given us another ringside report. We're going to go through it. I think there's a lot of nice quality of life details that they've added this year. And if you do enjoy the video and want to be up to date on all of the 2K26 news, then hit subscribe for me, turn on those notifications, and also don't forget to like the video. Alright, before we go into the universe stuff, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the new additions to my GM. I didn't do a full video on it just because I don't really play it. The mode's not my cup of tea, and I don't think that I should be the one trying to portray that information to you. You know what I mean? Because I feel like it's not going to be that big of a deal to me. So I'll give you a quick rundown here. So new additions to my GM, there's new shake-ups, there's new slammies, which I think are the achievement things, right? New commissioner goals, there's new emails, so like different scenarios, new power cards, there's new tweets, there's new superstar perks, there's revised logistic unlocks, required number of superstars the draft for the draft has been increased, timer ticking, noise at specific intervals has been shortened, and tuning for all of the above. Starting with, we get a look at all the WrestleMania arenas that seem to have been added. Some of these are from Showcase, which we already know, we've seen and touched on before, but it seems like, and we'll touch on the setup wizard in a second, but you might be able to import these to Universe. I could be wrong on that, but I believe that's the case. But as you can see, we've got WrestleMania 27, WrestleMania 29, WrestleMania 30, 32, 35 and 37, all from Showcase, which we've touched on before. We've also got WrestleMania 41, day and night, night 1 and night 2. So they're like red and blue color schemes. This now is actually just one of the biggest quality of life things that I think, to be honest, I've wanted this for so long. You can now choose specific attires for people, whether it's for PLEs, promos, WrestleManias, you know, if you want a certain attire for SummerSlam, you can have that now. I assume this means that it'll be for example, community creations that you download for people and whatnot. So like if you download an alternate attire for Seth Rollins, I assume it's the same kind of thing. I don't think it's gonna be a case of where it's only if they're like models are in the game. You know what I mean? So like CM Punk with all the Showcase models, is that gonna be is it gonna be locked to that? I don't think so, but you never know, do you? You know, but it seems like you can just pick the attires now based off of the PLE, based off of the promo. The promo one is a big thing for me because I always, especially when it gets to universe mode, I'm always trying to make it as realistic as possible in a sense, right? I feel like that's what universe is meant to be. You can have it as wacky as you want or as realistic as you want, right? You can also find a nice balance, but for me, it always irritated me, and it might just be my OCD more than it is the game, but it always irritated me that if I'm coming out for a promo, right, for one, if you're a champion, you don't have the championships. That's been fixed now. That is also in. But also as well, your attire. You're always coming out in, not even your entrance attire. You know what I mean? You're always coming out in, for example, if it's Seth, for example, he's not got his blooming robe on or whatever it is, and he just comes out ready to go, no shirt on, no anything. Now, it seems like you can set casual attires for that. So that's a quality of life thing that I'm really happy about. As I just mentioned as well, you now get championship promo entrances, right? And we get a shot of CM Punk walking down with the championship, having it over his shoulder. He's also in his entrance gear, which I think you can also then pick. I'd imagine with the with the attire picking thing, I imagine some of the options are probably like, you know, do you want to just come out in your ring attire? Do you want to come out in your entrance attire so you keep your jackets on and whatever? Do you want to come out in a casual attire? You know, those kinds of things. But again, just a quality of life thing that is, to be honest, I don't know why this wasn't in when we brought promos back, to be completely honest. We got our first look at the draft as well. Bottom left, we get a look at the cutscene that will be playing while you're drafting your roster. So you'll have Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis that do a cutscene. They'll walk out and then you pick the drafts and all of that. I don't know if we got a glimpse of it, but I hope that it's the same for, like, if I draft John Cena, for example, does John Cena come walking out? Does his graphics play at least? Probably not, but it'd be pretty cool if that was the case. Either way, it's still pretty cool. And this one, oh my god, I don't know why they ever changed this, ever. Money in the Bank cash-ins, and now the old method again. you can now, if you're a Money in the Bank holder, you can just press a button to make it cash in. Doesn't have to be a rivalry. At least it doesn't look like it. Doesn't have to be a rivalry, you know what I mean? It's not some complicated method that you've got to go through weeks of to then finally be able to cash in the briefcase. You can now just press the button. If the champion's in a match, you can do it. You can choose between mid-match and post-match, which I think insane. Don't know why they ever changed it. That's one of those things where that 2K changed, and I'm just like, you didn't need to change it. Why did it ever change? You know what I mean? I feel like it wouldn't be a bad thing as well to have it in the rivalry actions, but I think just having the option to just press the damn button to cash in the briefcase is such a dub. So we actually got to look at all the customizations when it comes to the draft. You can change the name, you can change the logo, you can change the week that it starts, which I think is cool. I think the draft is going to be like your starting point for Universe. I could be wrong, but I think that's what this means. I don't know if somebody else has gone into depth on that yet, but this is the vibe I'm getting. So basically, you can start in a certain week. You know, if you wanted to start literally like straight after WrestleMania, you can do that. If you wanted to start just before SummerSlam, you could do that. Like, that's pretty cool, rather than having to start one and then simulate to where you want to get to. You can obviously change your participating shows. You can also have supplement shows, so NXT. So basically, ones that aren't your main shows, basically. You can choose how many draft rounds and the amount of draft picks that you have, as well as you can have reserve picks, the number of reserve picks, you can turn them on or off. You can have champion picks, team splitting, free agent picks, legend picks. There's so many different pools here. So you can fully customize. Again, goes back to what I was saying. You can have it as realistic as possible or as mental as you want, right? You can have The Rock come back full time. You can have Stone Cold come back full time. You can have Rhea Ripley be around. You know what I mean? Like, it is fully customizable, which is a W. Moving on to entrances, we got a look at, for the very first time, you can actually now create entrances and victories for stables. So, for example, MFTs. You can change stuff and tweak stuff. W again. I mean, again, this is one of those things where it's like, how has it taken us this long to get it? How is it taken this long? I don't think it's one of those features that is necessarily asked for massively. There'll be a few people that have asked for it, just in terms of, again, it'll be realism, but I don't know, for me, I've never really thought about it, but now that we have it, I'm like, yeah, how has it taken us this damn long to get, you know, an actual full customization of entrances and factions and stuff, you know? Quick thing to touch on as well, while they were showing off the entrance things, a lot of people have picked up on this. In the list of entrance motions, Baron Corbin is still listed as being in the game. I don't know that he's actually gonna be in the game. I think it will just be the entrance motion. They might end up changing the name. They might not have just changed the name yet. I imagine they'll end up changing the name. You know, we've seen Aleister Black's motion be in the game for years when he's not been in them. You know what I mean? So I don't know that this is going to be a big deal. There's a small possibility, but I mean, he's not been with the company for a while. I understand why he was in last year's game, because I think they had a Persona card lined up and he was featured in the island. So it was probably too much of a faff to actually change that in terms of the King Corbin stuff. And then I think, wasn't Baron Corbin just already in the game anyway? But yeah, that was kind of different because when he got released, the game was already pretty much done by that point and the roster was set. So this is a bit different. This will probably just be that they've just not yet changed their name. All right, so now I'm just going to quickly go through the actual written version of the trailer and all of that to see what 2K has said about it. So when talking about Universe, they talk about the Universe Wizard. This new Universe Wizard will allow players to choose which weekly shows and PLEs will be featured, assign superstars for each show, as well as their champions, then decide which month of the calendar to start on. So again, kind of feeds into the draft. So basically, this wizard seems to be like basically everything that you would want to do in starting a universe, basically, all in one place. So it's not like, because I think this year, isn't it, for example, if you wanted to do a superstar one, you'd have to pick your superstar and then you can tweak stuff, but then it's technically already started. This now allows you to just set everything up in one place and then actually get on with the gameplay. When choosing which weekly shows to feature, players can use the Add New Show option to import an already downloaded or created show, or create one from scratch. For default shows like Raw and SmackDown, players can edit other details like superstars, championships, divisions, and all of that kind of stuff. Each show can support now up to 8 titles for the men's and women's divisions, and the tag titles, all of that, intergender stuff. But 8 slots now for, what is it currently? Is it like 5 or something? Something like that. So then they go on to talk about the draft. One of the biggest new features of this year's universe is the addition of the draft. It's something our fans have been asking for, and we're happy to finally have it available for 2K26. Drafts are events where participating shows will be able to trade superstars from their rosters over an entire week. Players can also create, edit, or remove drafts from their universe, so you don't even have to have it if you don't want to. To create a draft, players will be able to give it a name and attach a logo to it before selecting anything. We looked at that earlier. The draft rounds, which can be adjusted. So this is just telling you everything you can customize. We've already touched on that. Money in the Bank cash-ins, we've already touched on. The promos, they did actually add a new promo. So we've got self promos, which we've already had, call out / interrupt, open challenges, which I think is now kind of different. I imagine they've added to it. I know we kind of had it in this year's game, but it seems like they've tweaked it a little bit. Then we've also got a new one where you can be interviewed after the match. The winner of a match will have the option to announce a division change, so go after a different championship, discuss a #1 contenders match or a title challenge. For the loser of the match, they can interrupt the winner's interview and either shake their hand, engage in a brawl, or get into a stare down. This is all just very, like, I feel like the theme of this game is to, like, give you more control, which I'm so here for. But yeah, so that appears to be everything. As always, if I've missed stuff, I'll try and pick it up in the next video that I do. But if you did enjoy, hit like for me, hit subscribe, turn on those notifications, and I'll see you in the next one.